If Rocksteady and Warner Brothers thought that Mrs. Freeze would somehow save Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, they got a rude awakening as the release of their season 2 actually saw their player base decline over the past 2 weeks. In fact, it is now down 95% from its peak concurrent player base. That is how terrible this game is doing. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Also, hit that like button. Let's beat the YouTube algorithm and get more people to watch this video. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com. And they recently released Mrs. Freeze, who is this character named Victoria Frias. I don't even know why they spelled it that way. Absolutely terrible. Revealed that she's a lesbian. This is what the blog post said. Victoria Frias is an ice-cold, self-sufficient survivalist who has watched her Elseworld turn to ice as Brainiac's invasion took hold. By the time we meet her in season 2, she spent years as the last holdout of her dying planet, unwilling to leave her cryogenically frozen wife behind. But after being recruited by the squad, she may have the chance to save her and unleash icy hell. So obviously, people of the same sex cannot get married. That is an impossibility. Only men and women can get married. So they're absolutely lying. But they are confirming that this character is gay and is a lesbian. And the patch went live 11:30 a.m. Eastern time on July 25th, according to the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League official account on X. Maintenance for Suicide Squad game has been completed, and the season of Frozen Hearts is now available. Head on back to Metropolis and prepare to take on Brainiac in an all-new Elseworld and recruit the newest squad member, Mrs. Freeze. And so then we look over here at the SteamDB player charts, and you can see peak 24 hours, only 572 since the season 2 patch was released. And that is absolutely terrible. It was already down to 418, just a couple hours after it released. I mean, it's absolutely terrible player numbers right here. And you can see here the peak was 13,459. And so if you do a simple percentage calculation, you see that the players base dropped by 95% decline, 13,459 to 572 peak concurrent players. When the game launched its first season featuring Joker at the end of March, its concurrent peak hit 3,012 players. So if we compare that to the release of Mrs. Freeze, you see that you're still looking at an 81% decline of that peak concurrent. I mean, 3,012 to 572, 81% decline. Just absolutely abysmal. This game is bleeding players. It's absolutely terrible. I mean, even if you look here, you can see that there were higher peaks in the 2 weeks before this released. That's how terrible this did. You can see here at the end of June, I think it's like June 30th, a Sunday, 665 players. And then July 7th, it was at 633. So you had more players playing concurrently in the 2 weeks prior to their actual like big giant season 2 with Mrs. Freeze. That is how bad this game is doing. And not only are people not playing, but it's just getting mocked. I think it's harming the DC brand. It's doing lots of damage to Rocksteady as a company. It's doing a lot of damage to Warner Brothers Games as a company. And people are just absolutely mocking this, especially with the whole pride skins that you can put on this character. They just look absolutely atrocious, looks absolutely ugly. I mean, just look at this character. It's disgusting. It's repulsive. It is physically repulsive to look at this character. It hurts your eyes. That's how bad this stuff is here. Melee Games saying, how do you go from one of the greatest game developers to this? This is going to be the last game Rocksteady makes. I think that's probably true. I don't think Rocksteady recovers from the $200 million impairment charge that Warner Brothers Discovery had to take on this game. Gerald J. Jones quoted Elon Musk and says DEI kills art and sales. It's absolutely accurate. 100% does, and we can see this with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Danny Kim says, no one asked for Mrs. Freeze. You guys are going to fail for ignoring the user base. Absolutely right. I mean, I think they missed out on the entire gaming community as well. I mean, you can see that the peak concurrent was only at 13,000. That is still pretty low. People didn't even purchase this game because it just looked so bad. Then former World of Warcraft team lead Mark Kern, aka Grums, he also said the skins for Suicide Squad's Mrs. Freeze are pretty terrible. DEI ruins game art. You have a number of screenshots of the skins, and they do. They all look absolutely terrible, ugly, atrocious, whatever adjective you want to use. They are ugly. And he is absolutely right. DEI ruins game art. It does. And then Endymion responded to Grums here saying, sweet baby, infected indeed. Like, come on, dude, what even is this? It is. And I like how we say that it is infected, because it is infected. It is an infection. It is a virus. The woke mind virus has infected this game. And you can see what it does. It absolutely poisons design. I mean, this character is disgusting. It is absolutely ugly. It's repulsive. It is repulsive. And this game is repulsive because it has it in there. And that's why people aren't playing this game. So love to see it. Love to see games like this absolutely fail, that are clearly just trying to push the woke agenda, push woke ideology. And people are rejecting it, saying no to it. And I'm glad to see that. Now we just gotta make some bigger changes in the video game industry, so we don't even have these games being made at all. And I think a lot of that's going to have to come down to changing personnel. I think you got to kind of get a lot of these woke cultists out of the video game industry and get back to people that want to make solid quality video games rather than trying to push any kind of agenda. But let me know what you guys make of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, losing 95% of its player base in 6 months? Game came out in February. We're at the end of July now. 6 months, lost 95% of its player base. Absolutely terrible for them. But I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see people are not brainwashing themselves by exposing themselves to this content, not playing it anymore. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, but to always speak the truth.